Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahrukh Mujumdar welcoming you all to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. National Revolution and Solidarity Day observed across the country in befitting manner. Interim government refutes false claims over expenditure of National Consensus Commission. Youth will play vital role in building future Bangladesh, says Jamaat-e-Islami Amir. Educational institutions politicized during past 16 years of fascist regime, says National Citizen Party convener. July National Charter signed on the basis of consensus, says BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khusro Mohammad Chaudhry. US coordinated international stabilization force to be in Gaza very soon, says US President Trump. And Bangladesh Cricket Board confirms 5 teams participating in BPL. Those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The National Revolution and Solidarity Day is being observed across the country in a befitting manner. On this day, 50 years ago, Bangladesh began a new journey through a joint revolution of the members of the armed forces and mass people emerging from a state of chaos and uncertainty. On November 7th in 1975, the streets of the capital Dhaka and elsewhere in the country drew thousands of people to celebrate the remarkable moment for the subsequent emergence of Shahid President Ziaur Rahman as a statesman. The nation once again heard him on radio saying, "I am Zia speaking." The call signed like the voice it had heard by the people at the onset of the 1971 Liberation War. His presence revived in people's minds the memories that inspired them to fight for the country's independence in 1971. The people breathed a sigh of relief, as if a heavy stone had been lifted from their chests. Spontaneous processions of revolution and victory filled the streets. The air rang with applause, chants and slogans as soldiers and civilians embraced one another, shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand. The historic November 7th thus became a turning point in Bangladesh's history, being observed as the National Revolution and Solidarity Day. Through this revolution, Bangladesh began a new journey, slowly emerging from a state of chaos and uncertainty. On this day in 1975, the then Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ziaur Rahman, broke the country free from the web of geopolitical, expansionist and new colonial conspiracies. In a critical moment of national crisis, patriotic revolutionary soldiers and civilians overthrew the conspirators through a mass uprising and placed General Zia in leadership. After November 7th in 1975, the evolution of self-dignified, distinctive Bangladeshi culture and identity began. A new dawn of hope heralded, and the new hero of that dawn was the son of history, Ziaur Rahman. Over the years, there have been many conspiracies to erase his memory, but breaking through those plots, Zia secured a permanent place in the people's hearts. November 7, 1975 was the turning point in post-liberation Bangladesh. On this historic day, the joint uprising of soldiers and the masses freed General Ziaur Rahman from prison. Under his visionary leadership, Bangladesh later moved towards prosperity and self-reliance. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir made these remarks after placing a wreath at the grave of martyred President Ziaur Rahman on the occasion of National Revolution and Solidarity Day. Mirza Fakhrul said that the historic day marked a crucial opportunity for Bangladesh to rise again. On that day, the united revolution of soldiers and the people foiled the conspiracy of imperialist forces. He added that Ziaur Rahman took all necessary initiatives to introduce Bangladesh to the modern world. Yet, even today, a certain group continues to pull the country backward, and everyone must remain united against them. Just a few days ago, the BNP announced its list of candidates for the 13th National Parliamentary election. This event marks the party's largest program since then, with a massive turnout of leaders and activists from the BNP and its affiliated organizations. The National Consensus Commission (NCC) refuted claims that the Commission spent 83 crore taka on hospitality, stating that its total expenditure was 1.71 crore taka, of which 45 lakh taka was spent on hospitality. It was said in a statement issued by Chief Advisor's press wing last night. The statement said a very recent campaign by a certain quarter has falsely alleged that the National Consensus Commission spent 83 crore taka on hospitality. Such statements are entirely fabricated and false, as it is evident that this was a planned propaganda, as those who spread the misinformation neither sought the Commission's official statement nor verified the authenticity of the information from relevant authorities, it said. To prevent public confusion, the NCC clarified that since its inception of February 15, 2025, the total budget for fiscal years 2024-25 and 2025-26 was 7 crore 23 lakh 31,026 taka. Of these, 63 lakh taka was allocated for hospitality. As of October 31, 2025, however, the Commission spent a total of 1 crore 71 lakh 31,126 taka, which was only 23.46% of the total allocation, it said, adding 45 lakh 77,685 taka was spent on hospitality. The statement said that the majority of the expenditure on hospitality was incurred during meetings and discussions with political parties and other meetings of the Commission. During the three-phase discussions with political parties, the Commission arranged entertainment for political party representatives, their associates, journalists and media workers. Commission officials and employees and security personnel, it said, adding in the first phase from March 20th to May 19th, 2025, 44 meetings with political parties were held, while 4,91,000 taka was spent on hospitality. In the second phase, 23 meetings were held at the Foreign Service Academy with representatives of 30 political parties, while 28,83,100 taka was spent. The statement said, adding, as these meetings lasted from morning till night, the Commission had to arrange breakfast, lunch and dinner for the participants. The average cost per day was less than 1,20,000 taka, it said. In the third phase, the statement said 7 meetings involving representatives from 30 political parties were held, while 7,08,600 taka was spent. Apart from these, the Commission held 50 of its own meetings, many of which were on holidays and lasted for the whole day. It said, adding, these meetings incurred 1,05,520 taka. 2,340 taka was spent in 13 programs, including meetings with political parties, civil society members, professionals, and 3 press conferences. The statement said, adding, 30,960 taka was spent on hospitality during 14 meetings with experts. It is mentionable that the experts didn't take any allowance on honorarium, it said. Additionally, 2 lakh taka was spent over 9 months on hosting guests, including foreign diplomats, representatives of domestic and international organizations, political leaders, editors and journalists, the statement added. The noted statement on the expenditure clearly shows that the claim of 83 crore taka expenditure is not only a lie but also a concerted and planned attempt to undermine the National Consensus Commission and its activities, it said, noting that throughout its tenure, the Commission maintained maximum transparency. The statement said the reports published in the mass media every day are proof of this. Journalists were freely allowed access to the Commission office, while the Vice Chairman and members of the Commission regularly shared information through press conferences and briefings, it said, adding, notably, for the first time in Bangladesh's history, discussions between political parties were broadcast live on television. The Commission hoped that the unscrupulous quarters that are spreading this malicious propaganda would immediately admit their faults and seek apology, the statement said. It added, the Commission received the cooperation of responsible media during its tenure and hoped that the media would continue their responsible approach to protect the people from confusion by disseminating accurate information on this issue. Jamaat-e-Islami Amir Dr. Shafiqur Rahman has said that the youth will play a vital role in building the Bangladesh of the future. He made this remark in the morning at the Bangladesh-China Friendship Conference Center while addressing a reception program organized by Islami Chhatra Shibir for the newly elected representatives of the Dhaka University Central Students' Union, DAKSU. Dr. Shafiqur Rahman said, the young generation who once drove away the mighty forces through an indomitable movement will now contribute to rebuilding the Bangladesh of tomorrow. Convener of the National Citizens Party, Nahid Islam, has said during the past 16 years of fascist regime, the country's educational institutions had fallen under the grip of politicization. He urged teachers across the country to work together to prevent corruption in the education sector. He made the call while speaking as a chief guest at a discussion marking the launching ceremony of the University Teachers Forum, UTF, a combined platform of teachers from both public and private universities held today at the Bangla Academy in Dhaka. The UTF was launched with the aim of redefining the unity, dignity, responsibility and social role of university teachers in Bangladesh. At the event, students who participated in the July uprising expressed hope that the UTF, formed with the participation of both public and private universities, will work in the coming days to solve all the problems in Bangladesh's education system. The declaration paper of the forum was read out by Professor Dr. Sirajul Islam Khan of Dhaka University, who stated that the UTF has been formed in a neutral and non-partisan manner inspired by the aspirations of 24's movement. BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khusro Mohammad Chaudhry said the July National Charter was signed on the basis of consensus where there is no scope for anyone's personal wishes to be reflected. He made this comment at the inauguration ceremony of the newly built Engineer Abdul Khalik Auditorium at the Chattogram Press Club today. Amir Khusro Mohammad Chaudhry said everything in the country had been isolated in the last 15 years. Problems must be resolved through dialogue for the progress of democracy. Chattogram Press Club Interim Committee Member Secretary Jahidul Karim Kochi presided over, while City Mayor Dr. Shahadat Hussain, Doinik Azadi Editor M.A. Malik, Managing Editor Wahid Malik, BNP Leader Abu Sufyan, Chattogram Metropolitan Journalists Union General Secretary Saleh Noman and other concerned persons addressed the occasion. Now international news. United States President Donald Trump has said he expects a U.S.-coordinated international stabilization force to be on the ground in Gaza very soon as part of his post-war plan for the enclave, which is still suffering a full-blown humanitarian crisis amid continued Israeli bombing. It's going to be very soon. And Gaza is working out very well, said the president on Thursday, adding that an alliance of very powerful countries had volunteered to intervene if any problems arose with the Palestinian armed group Hamas, which has not yet confirmed it will disarm. The president's projection came as the United Nations Security Council prepares to start negotiations to authorize a 2-year mandate for a transitional governance body and the stabilization force, which is supposed to protect civilians, secure border areas, and train Palestinian police. Secretary General Antonio Guterres told Al Jazeera on Tuesday that any stabilization force must have full international legitimacy to support Palestinians in Gaza. The resolution, which was reportedly seen by Egypt, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, would permit a stabilization force of 20,000 troops to use all necessary measures to carry out its mandate, meaning it will be allowed to deploy force, according to Reuters. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 68,875 Palestinians and wounded 170,679 since October 2023. A total of 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7, 2023, Hamas-led attacks and about 200 taken captive. At least one person has been killed and 9 injured in a series of Israeli strikes across southern Lebanon, ratcheting up tensions and drawing condemnation from both the Lebanese government and the armed group Hezbollah as a flagrant violation of a one-year-old ceasefire. The Israeli military said that it targeted alleged Hezbollah military installations on Thursday, accusing the group of refusing to disarm in accordance with an agreement reached last year. Israel has carried out near-daily strikes despite the truce, and Hezbollah has said that it is committed to the ceasefire agreement but will not disarm so long as Israel continues to routinely attack Lebanese territory. What Israel committed today in southern Lebanon constitutes a full-fledged crime under international humanitarian law, which criminalizes the targeting, terrorizing, and forced displacement of civilians, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said in a statement. Nearly a year has passed since the ceasefire took effect, and during that period, Israel has spared no effort in showing its rejection of any negotiated settlement between the two countries, he added. Pakistan and Afghanistan have traded blame for brief cross-border fighting as delegations from both countries met in Turkey for talks aimed at securing a ceasefire following deadly clashes last month. Thursday's talks in Istanbul are intended to finalize a truce approved on October 19th in Qatar that ended a week of deadly clashes between the South Asian neighbors, which killed dozens of people, including soldiers and civilians, and wounded hundreds of others. Security issues are at the heart of their dispute, with Islamabad accusing Kabul of harboring groups such as the Pakistan Taliban TTP, which is accused of launching attacks in Pakistan. The Taliban government in Afghanistan denies these allegations, while the third round of negotiations with the Pakistani side has begun in Istanbul. Unfortunately, this afternoon, Pakistani forces once again opened fire on Spin Boldak, causing concern among the local population, Afghan government spokesman Zabiullah Mujahid said on Thursday. Pakistan denied the accusation, pinning the blame on Afghanistan.